Hello lovely people, and welcome back to another Ninja Woodfire cooking video. I realise it's been a minute since I uploaded a video, and that's largely down to the great British weather, which has stopped me from getting outdoors as much as I would like for cooking, which I then upload for your viewing pleasure. So today we are going to be cooking some burgers, and I'll run through the rest of the ingredients in just a sec. But as always, we want to keep this simple. So all you've missed is that I've turned on the unit. I don't need the wood smoke fire button. The hopper is not being used, although I forgot to take the pellets out from the last cook. So I'm not going to be smoking it because I just want to be making burgers and I want that to be really quick. So without needing the ignition process for the smoker, that takes us straight to the preheat function, which is going to take a couple of minutes just to get that grill nice and up to temperature. And today we're going to be using the griddle pan. So that doesn't come with the unit itself, it was purchased separately. And the reason I'm using that is purely ease. So as I say, I want this to be efficient, and that includes the cleanup process afterwards. So the ridged grill that comes with the unit will do this perfectly well. This is just personal preference. Over to our ingredients, and again we've kept it quite simple. So we've cut some onion, which will soften and char a little bit on the grill once the burgers are almost cooked. We got some cheese slices over here, just to add on the end. And I'll just drape those over as they're cooling down rather than put them on the burgers. I don't like the burnt cheese taste. And then we've got some burger baps, buns, barm cakes, rolls. For our lovely US viewers, this bread product changes its name depending on which county you're in. So up north where I'm from, we could call this a barm cake or a roll, a bap. Any number of things, but you can see on there they call it white rolls. I am doing a bit of multitasking, so we're going to have some chips to go along with this. We could, because this is multifunctional, we could use the air fryer function for that purpose. What I would say is that it works incredibly quickly, and if you're cooking something like really skinny fries, I would watch them quite carefully, and I am cooking first hand, unfortunately. So I put them in the air basket, the air fryer, and left them all alone for something like 5 minutes, and by then they'd pretty much disintegrated. So it is one of the functions of the cook is that it's really fast, but just do keep an eye on them. So I'm just talking through whilst we wait for that to heat up. There's the add food function, is that we've got a dial there with lots of preset functions all linked to a time. We don't need the smoker, as I said before, but we could at any point press the woodfire smoker button, and that will boost the flavour going through the unit. We can also adjust the temperature and the time on the fly throughout the cook. You can of course cook with the lid up if we're not using the smoker function, because we don't need to capture it. Okay, so through the magic of editing, I have taken those burgers out of the box. They are shop bought. They're going to be cooked from frozen, so I've not defrosted them, but I did just leave them at room temperature just enough so that you could separate the burgers. So I don't know whether you've experienced this, but you can sometimes find that the burgers are stuck together and you've got to prise them apart, and they can end up looking a bit messy. So these are Aberdeen Angus burgers, and we'll put those on the pan. Because the grill's up to temperature, it's going to start cooking immediately. Burgers in general, you want some fat content in there that gives it the taste, but obviously not too much if you want to look after those arteries and cholesterol. So the preset grill function is set to high and 16 minutes, and we will get a prompt to flip halfway through the cook. What I tend to do is I will just check in at various times throughout the cook and probably flip them a few times. Because the air fryer is, or the wood fire grill, should I say, which is also an air fryer, because it has that fan at the top, it will give an even cook throughout anyway, even if you only flip once, but I generally like to see what I'm doing. Reason I cook with the lid down for my videos is twofold, really. Is one, that the background noise is quite loud, and although I've invested in some microphones, a lot of my videos end up being edited and dubbed afterwards, which is what I'm doing now. I'm not actually talking in real time. I'm trying to go back through the passages of history and remember what I actually did and commentate in real time. Hopefully doing a good job of it. Other reason is purely temperature. So if the lid is open, there's not as much heat in there, and that's going to affect your cook time. Whilst we talk about the grill and my use of it, if you've not watched my other videos, where on earth have you been? I'm only joking. But in all seriousness, what this is all about, if you've never watched the videos before, is it's not shiny production quality. It isn't product placement or me looking to preach to anybody. It is purely me using my Ninja Woodfire grill and capturing the footage, a little bit of light editing, and then I'll pass on any hints and tips that come up from the comments. So in terms of the comments, I appreciate every one of them. I read every one of them. I respond to every one of them. So keep them coming. In the winter months, I'm going to need something to keep me going. So any suggestions on that, please do add that into the comments. So if you're familiar with the other videos, I've been toying with the idea of finding a home in my garage for the Ninja Woodfire. Clearly smoking stuff in there is not going to be a good idea, but I could still use it for cooks, because as we can see, the cooks, most of my videos are quite short and captured in pretty much real time, because the unit's just that quick and efficient. So we're not going to wait for the 8 minutes where we'll be prompted to flip, because we're going to have a look at the burgers now. So you can already see that they're taking on some colour, sizzling away nicely there. And the grill's looking nice and clean, which makes me a happy boy, because that means that the cleaning is minimal afterwards. What those eager-eyed amongst you will probably spot is that some of those cooking juices are pooling in the corner. And I'll explain that, although I have done so in other videos, is that it's purely that it's not on a perfectly flat surface. So if it's on a flat surface, the grill is angled slightly backwards, and you can see the little ridge there at the back of the grill, so that all those unwanted cooking juices go into the drip tray. On with the onions. So we want them to soften and also sear a little bit for flavour. So they can go on now, because those burgers are cooking even quite nicely. Lid down to keep the temperature in. And we should be good to go. I'm not sure we're going to need the entire 16-minute cook for this, but we'll keep checking in. So some of the other units that Ninja have come out with include an XL, which has a bigger cooking area. Also has a built-in thermometer. I think actually there's even one that has Bluetooth, so you can kind of use almost a remote control for your cook, which I don't really need it for that, but I do appreciate that lots of people use these units for a variety of reasons. So if you've invested a whole lot of your life into a perfect marinade and prep, and you're going to use the smoker function, that's a nice feature to have, is to kind of maintain that temperature that you want without having to keep coming back over an extended period. So we are prompted to flip there, and look at that, there's a rogue burger. I managed to trap that in the lid. Very professional job that I do here. And so we're not going to need much longer for this cook. I think we're almost there. I'm not sure we need to flip the burgers that much more. So in the meantime, I have prepped the buns. Again, there's a couple of schools there. I think some people will butter the baps, for want of a better phrase. I don't tend to. I tend to then add some flavour through the sauces, some burger relish, And we are going to be draping a little bit of cheese over the burgers once they're cooked, just while they're resting, so that the cheese nicely melts. I think that if you put them on while they're cooking, it can get a little bit burnt, and actually it can also catch a little bit on the grill itself. And again, I want an easy life. I want to clean this quite quickly after I've eaten my delicious food. You can see here I've captured a nice bit of Ninja branding on the barbecue table itself, which I've covered in another video if that's of interest to you. I haven't put the extendable table on because I didn't really need it for the extra storage. The more that we do with the prep and the setup, the more we have to put away afterwards. So once I'm done with this, essentially once the cook's done, I'll leave the lid up to let the griddle plate cool down. I don't need to worry about the hopper because I've not used it, although I do need to clean out those pallets. And that just leaves me with a griddle pan, which once it's cooled, just needs a little bit of soapy water and a bit of TLC. No need to scrub it with a scouring pad because you will take the non-stick off it. Not much more to say on this cook. It's doing its business there. We should have some nice soft onions. I could have chopped them up a bit more fine and had crispy onions, but I went with that method for this one. I've also, as I said earlier in the video, got some chips cooking to accompany this, and I won't kind of put it all together on the video, mainly because I am, again, I've taken the same lazy approach to my prep as I had with my filming equipment. So I don't have my fancy speaker. I have my little gimbal thing, handheld thing, selfie stick, but not a lot else. So before we come to the end of the video, I will, as always, say thank you to each and every person that watches the videos, especially if you make it to the end. If you've got any suggestions about what I can do in the winter months to do cooks from the garage, please pop them in there. That'd be really useful. Or any other things you might be interested in. So what I'm not going to do is go out and go mad and buy every Ninja product so that I can show me using it, but I did. My lovely fiance bought me one of the new Ninja bottles, which I think is called a Thirsty, and I did a first impressions video on that one, and then just to completely milk the content, I did a kind of update after a day's use, which included exploring that claim that fizzy drinks stay fizzy longer and colder longer. So if you're interested in finding out how that works out, and please do go and check that out. There's lots of different content, different woodfire grills. What I would just say is I'm clearly not a professional chef, so if I talk about perfect things, it's perfect to me and the technique, not necessarily how it looks on the camera.